Top of the morning, KG.
Bless up. Top of the morning to you, good sir. Big man VA man, how are you? King?
Good, thanks. How are you, KG?
No, yeah, I'm well. I suppose maybe we start with the red, yellow, green. Tell us.
Uh, say yellow. And yourself?
You know what? Yeah, I'm a solid yellow king.
Uh,
I'm a
get you.
solid, just,
With
living,
yellow.
loving, lifing, you know what I mean? A solid,
Yeah.
solid yellow.
All right. And I guess before we get further to the episode,
Mm.
please like, subscribe, join us for the journey, and yeah, we hope you enjoy the episode as always. So KG, tell me, how was your birthday month? Let's start there.
Oh, amazing! Yeah, even that's what a beautiful Christian. What a guy! What a guy! Um, yeah. So, wow, and thank you. Wow, that's so important. I think, yo, and I'm just gonna actually start here. I think it's been such a very full and intense couple of weeks, especially post my birthday. Um, and weeks in which I've had to kind of dig deep into faith, right?
hmm
Faith and into doing the things that I can. And actioning what I'm responsible to action. And the reason why I start with that context is, V and I have both entered this podcast saying, yellow, there's most days we're green, 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 and this is just kind of a yellow little time, right? And the reason why I paint that picture leading into here is just to say, you spoke about my birthday and I totally forgot about like all those amazing things, right? And the reason then the kind of the landing point is when you kind of going through and having to climb up Everest with all that you've got, you kind of only see in that lens. But you actually forget that there's all these beautiful things that are happening with you and around you. And so I totally like, wow. So thank you, King. Yeah, so to then
That's
answer your question, my birthday, oh, beautiful. It was a beautiful day, beautiful celebration. And so my partner, she took me on a surprise getaway and we're away for the weekend in the British countryside. It
oh.
was incredible. We're literally in a cabin and it's on a working farm, right? And it is quiet. It is quiet. We are having to make fire to make food, make fire to warm the jacuzzi, and you see the stars, and you're just hearing cows and sheep, and you're drinking wine from the farm. It was stupendous, and I'm so grateful. Yeah.
Sounds like a camping trip, KG. I don't have
You see,
that.
so exactly. So it wasn't a camping trip. It wasn't. And that was the beauty. Part of the beauty of it is we came back from the weekend. We're like, guys, why does everyone force everyone to go camping? You can live a remote, quiet nature life in a most beautiful, luxurious cabin. The cabin
Yeah.
itself, plush, beautiful, incredible. So I'm not even gonna shout them out. It wild Wagtail Cabin. So if anyone's looking for that type of thing, it was generally that special Wagtail. Amazing. And but yeah, bro, it was camping without the stress. The fire part was fun because it kind of connected you to intentionality and effort. And to eat, you're gonna have to prepare and that sort of a thing. But other than that, it was beautiful, luxurious cabin living. Yeah, you would love it.
How 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 far was the nearest takeaway in case things went wrong with the cooking, KG? These are the questions
Me.
I need
So
to know.
that was hilarious. Probably. So for context, we couldn't get an Uber um to go to the shops to get a supply to get supplies. We like
Oh
you. It
well.
was the type of situation you order an Uber and you wait 30 minutes for someone to accept.
Okay. Okay. I
It
get
was
you.
that sort of a thing, you know what I mean? It's maybe 15 minutes from civilization drive, but the way it's set up, it's countryside. It's literally
Yeah.
just countryside, you know? Yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
you. I get you. I get
Mm.
you. No, that sounds awesome, Gage. I'm glad that you had a great birthday weekend, and shout out to the partner
Mm.
for taking you on the
Yes,
retreat. And
so
as you said,
grateful.
I think it's nice to do. How do I say it? Something different for your birthday, I guess, sort of thing. Because
Mm.
last year you did the running, but like it's your day. You do something special for you, sort of thing. And I love that for you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Mm.
I'm glad that you had a
Mm.
great time
Mm.
out there.
Mm. Yeah,
Um, and
and yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, so obviously you touched on at the start of your talk, you said like yellow and like you in a time of yellow, and it sort of made you forget the green that has passed. So I know we're not allowed to ask what's why you yellow, red, green. So that's not at all what I'm asking. But I wanted to say, yeah, what's happening in life now, KG? Let's ask it like that.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. Well phrased, and just it's important for us to say like this is a beautiful space in which V and I come as brothers and as friends, and we come to share our life stories. And as we kind of were having a little bit of the intro and kind of prepping, we were, yellow. And it's, as we were talking, kind of felt like this is the genuine reality that we'd like to share, because people, whoever's listening to this is also thinking like, oh wow, this isn't about every day. These are people necessarily who cheer me up, right? But it's like,
Yeah.
this is the place in which like, wow, I can relate to that. And that to me is the core essence of this, right? It's some things are incredible to relate to. Amazing. It's like, yes, do that thing that you've been dreaming of. And other times it's like, yo, I'm just in a sluggish moving through sticky oil right now, sticky honey right now. So where am I? Yeah, a journey of faith, I've taken strides of faith, and it's, you know what I mean? I've been, just because you're doing what you're called to do and you're moving towards what you envision and has been placed in your mind, you know what I mean, by God, doesn't mean that it's an easy journey,
Yeah.
And it's, for me personally, my story is just having faith in the fact that I just have to focus on the small steps in front of me. And I think the difficulty is when you know that there's something you must have to do, or something that you've been called to achieve, right? You can
Yeah.
kind of start looking to do those things that are here because you're planning and you're mapping out the whole way, right? And it becomes then difficult when the it it doesn't seem like it's actualizing in the way that you have mapped it out. And I
Map
think
it
it's the
out.
best way to put it. And when you kind of get confronted with that reality, you realize that you actually have no control over it. Personally, I'm speaking to my is that I don't actually have any control over it. All I have control about right now is faith and doing the task in front of me. That's actually all that I can focus on. Because, you focus on, oh, I should have, and the timeline, and this, and this, and this. I actually don't have control over that. And that's what this period has been. And so naturally, you know what I mean? It's not the funnest. You know what I mean? It's not the funnest when you kind of having to go through the little bit of difficulty and stickiness, but that's just life, and when you keep walking, the main thing is keep putting one foot in front of each other, and
Yeah.
eventually you'll be like, yes. And that change has come, I have to say, over the past day. Literally yesterday I managed to get a bit of the birth of like, wow, amen. But that doesn't mean that I can't have a good day on Friday and then say Monday to Thursday, oh, out of my memory, you know what I mean, forget about it, didn't happen, I was fine, I was perfect, everything was great, that's not the
Yeah.
reality, so yeah. And so as that, you'll touch on all the elements you'd like, but tell me about, where are you in life right now, good sir?
No, I'll get to me, Adrian, but
Mm,
I'd like
mm,
to
mm.
ask you a question if you don't mind me also. So
Yeah,
as you
please.
said, like you have these let's call them milestones that you are trying
Mm,
to get to, you're
yes,
trying to
yes.
reach, and maybe you're not reaching them at the speed you want to, or like you're being pushed off path. Maybe I'm not sure, but I guess my question to you is, do you at least feel like you are moving in the right direction? Maybe not at the right speed, but do you still feel like you're moving in the right direction?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. And that's what's causing a little bit, yeah, because I am. What's causing the dichotomy, right? Is when, and to make it the most general as possible to everyone, right? Everyone listening, is when you start focusing on the things outside of your control, right, is when you start getting into this feelings of, oh, it should be, I should do it, I'd like to happen in this much time, or do you get what I'm saying? That when
Yeah,
you then realize, is what I realize is, that's that I can't control that, and that's not what I should do. It's important to create those milestones and do to be working towards those sort of things. But the most important thing is you've got the milestone. In reality, how you get there, you actually don't have much control with. What you then do control is the present. And the present is right now, sun is on my back, got faith in my heart, talking to my bro, and this is the part of my day that I should be actualizing. I'm showing up in this moment. And that's all that I should be focused on right now. You know what I mean? And when you ground
I get
yourself to that, I'm joyful. It's like there's nothing
you.
that I should. Oh, I'm doing what I should be doing right now. Full stop.
Yeah.
I'm grateful and I'm joyful, and that is so. I know I'm walking towards. It's now. I'm being just taking off my shoulders the fact that I don't control the big parts, and the vision and the milestone will be there, will arrive. You know what I mean? I must
Yeah,
just focus
I
on
get
today.
I get you. So I think if I can relate this to our journey on this podcast is
Mm,
when we started. So those of you who don't know me, Cajun is I'm a very like goal-driven person. When we started this podcast, I was like, okay, by this time we need to have this many views, and by this time we need to have this many views, and that sort of thing. And I'm going to be honest, we didn't meet those targets that I had set for us, sorry, for us as a podcast. But
mm.
as KG said, it's we still showed up. We still like listen. We're enjoying this journey, whether we're reaching those view targets or not. It's actually not under our control. Like we hope what we're putting out is great. We hope that it resonates with people, but like at the end of the day, we can't say this episode needs to reach 100,000 people.
Yeah,
We have no control
yeah,
over that.
yeah,
All we
yeah.
can do is be here today, record an episode, and you know, and hope that it resonates. That's really all we can do.
Literally, and sharing, being authentic. The rest, honestly,
Yeah,
isn't us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
isn't it?
it isn't. Because I
No,
think the beauty of what is, it was, you can plant the seed, you
yeah,
can water the plant, but you don't control the weather. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And you must just do what you can do, but you must have faith in the rest of the picture. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah,
Mm,
and
mm,
have faith that it's
mm,
gonna go where you want. Yeah, and you hope that because I guess bringing it back to our podcast, that the reality is that so I set these goals, and let's say I've set. So this is just an example. We haven't set a goal, but let's say my goal for this year was we must get 100,000 views, sort of thing. And
mm.
then you go every month, and we look at our stats, and we say, oh, okay, it's not looking good. Well, the reality is that in October we could record an episode that somehow catches wind and
Exactly.
everybody is sharing it, and someone
Exactly. Right?
records this, and now all of a sudden we act like 500,000. It's like we didn't control that. We just showed up and we did what
Exactly.
we could,
Exactly.
and the rest.
Exactly. And I almost say that's a beautiful connected testimony to my week, right? In that
Yeah,
I knew you know what I mean? It was tough, and I knew I had to show up in certain ways, and that was difficult. You know what I mean? It was difficult, and
Yeah.
not difficult because the tasks were difficult. It was I had to start doing stuff that I did not feel like I would like to do. Do you know what I mean? I just,
Yeah.
and it felt like, oh, I'm making sacrifices. I'm doing this, and for me in my context, it's God, right? But everyone has their own different contexts, and it kind of just felt like, oh, I'm just having to do this and sacrifice, and I'll keep doing that. And like you're saying, October came yesterday, and it was not in my control. Yesterday, I have conversation with certain people, and boom, boom. Next week, I've got a big week. Type of a thing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's
Yeah.
why it's that almost the thing. And I realized this as I brought it into my spirit is it's classic Jose Mourinho. Never too high, never too low. You know what I mean? You just gotta be focused on being peaceful, joyful. Now the peace and joy is my own addition. But be peaceful and joyful in doing what you have to do today. Because being too low means that you stop on Thursday and I don't get to Friday, right? I don't show up on Friday,
Yeah.
which I was just showing up with the best I could give, which was not high energy at all, right? And boom, everything is there, right? And similarly, now that everything is there, you can't now race to the top of the mountain and be like, yes, everything, because you know what I mean? You discount yesterday, and you also not allowing you conditioning your life on successful moments, right? And it's just about
Yeah.
just keep showing up. So absolutely, like you say, October tomorrow we could record this episode, and maybe everyone is in a Mercury retrograde. I don't know. And it's like yes, and we get our 100,000 views in the month. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, absolutely heard and absolutely agree. Amen. Grateful.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Mm.
Perfect. Yeah. And I guess okay. So to answer your question
Mm.
about me, so uh, as you know, so 2025 was my best year of my life. So I think before that it
Amazing.
was 2019, but 2025, oh, that was just incredible. The life that was lived, the opportunities that I got, it was really, really
Amen.
exciting. I really, really loved that. And then we got to what, December 2025, and it was time to find new work. Let's call it that. And I say that's December 2025. We're now in May
Mm.
2026, and still haven't found that opportunity, sort of thing. And it's been I don't want to call it a frustrating journey. Frustration, as I said to KG before we started, frustration is not the right word. I'm not frustrated. I'm not, but for anyone who's been on the journey of like, applying for jobs or anything, you know that like when you're not getting that yes, you sort of it's deflating. It's a bit of
Mm.
a, as
Mm.
Mike Tyson says, a bit of a punch in the face. You sort of you
Mm.
go into these interviews, you feel confident. You like, I think I answered the questions correctly, sort of
Mm.
thing, and then you wait for that feedback, and then it's not what you wanted to hear, and it's just a little bit of a like a needle to a balloon that just pops, and
Oh.
you're just like, ah,
Mm.
like what next? And as KG's saying, you sort of just have to pick yourself up. You just got to keep going. Like there's
Mm.
no point, to me at least in my mind. There's no point in sulking over like that rejection. Okay, we didn't get that, so we need to find that job. So like what do we do now? How do we change our approach? What do we need to do differently? Getting feedback would help, sort of thing, and that's really where I'm at. So that's why I'm yellow. Is that it's just you know after having such an epic 2025, it just feels like 2026 is not going my way so far, sort
Mm.
of thing.
Mm. Mm. Wow. And yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Big Man V. And I think, as you kind of share and say those things, it's so incredible to create exposure to the real life we're living. As I've been on this journey, and I suppose, it's a incredible because when someone shares, it empowers you to feel and to share. You know what I mean? More. I think
Yeah.
mine is Journey of Faith, and tomorrow I'm getting adopted into a church, and so that
Mm.
has been that's been my pillar. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's been a beautiful resonance, right? And that's part of my journey. And the other part of my journey is growing a business, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, that takes so much investment and yeah, pouring into. I wouldn't even call it sacrifice
Mm.
because it is sacrifice, but when you're loving something, it's more feels like investment. And so it
Yeah.
just the investment really pulls from your spirit. And you end up having times where you're like, how are we gonna get to this sort of thing? You know what I mean? But knowing that this is exactly the path that I should be walking by God, right? And it's
Mm.
been really just been like, this is tough, sometimes not fun. And you're like, okay, cool, we built milestones, but then you're like, when I look at them, I'm like, okay, cool, how are we gonna do this? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you realize that it is not actually in my control. It is not actually in my
Yeah.
control. I just have to show up. And I'll say a beautiful little testimony, right? I um had to kind of, Fridays work from home days, doing the thing, amazing, life is good. But yesterday, I mean, on Thursday, I realized that, on Friday, I have to go out to the city to meet some people, right? When you're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I know it's good. I know it's good. You have to be there and keep showing up, and lo and behold, and I go out there. I leave my house. I'm just low in it. I'd like to be home, have a nice yogurt bowl. You know what I mean? Be with my partner, work from home. In my own space, my own productivity. But fine. I leave, engaging the day, but I'm kind of low energy. I'm just showing up, having conversations with
Yeah.
these people, and in the moment, the opportunity and the chance and the blessing, the breakthrough occurs. you know, and it
Oh,
was
wow. Mm.
incredible. The moment, the blessing to say, okay, cool, you've been showing up. Here's how you actualize the path. It's not your path, it's not, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But here's the path, you know what I mean? It's gonna take you to
Yeah.
where you have to go, and so it was a really beautiful day, and the joy wasn't joy and elation of jumping up in excitement, it was just gratitude and yeah, gratitude to the Lord, and then just saying, okay, I'll keep working. You know what I mean? And that was that. So, and beautifully so, joyfully so. But it is just that testimony, like I'm saying, of like, bro, yeah, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard doing and showing up with the same energy at the same thing, even when you love and even when you know that this is exactly where you must be and exactly what you must be doing. So yeah, yeah,
Dang.
yeah.
No, I get you 1000% get you. And there's something you said. I'm trying to think of the quote exactly, but you said it's not necessarily sacrifice, but it's investment,
Mm.
and I love that. That's a nice. I smiled when you said it. We'll talk about
Mm.
that in a second, but it's just a nice way to say it. So you're investing in your future, you're investing in your goals, and I guess just to talk to what I was listening to.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I got some advice from someone close to me that said that like, and this is practical
Mm.
advice. So this is obviously you take it. If you're listening to this, take it with a pinch of salt. Take it however you want. So uh, Katie and I are both on entrepreneurial spirits. I think we've discussed it before, where we said we want to build something and create something great. But uh, and these are my own words to express what was said to me is uh, I think we live in a generation of instant gratification where we sort of want to rush everything and you know Mark, let's talk about someone. So Mark Zuckerberg, I think, was like the youngest billionaire ever, but he's newsworthy because what he did was an anomaly sort of thing.
Yes.
But we all so like if every single 21-year-old was becoming a billionaire sort of thing, that's different. But like what he did is an anomaly sort of thing. And I think we mustn't feel this pressure that we need to get to these milestones so quickly. Business is a slow burning thing. It takes time, it takes
Mm.
thought, it
Mm.
takes making mistakes sort of thing.
You have to
And
build the fire. Mm.
maybe the build the fire sort of thing
Mm.
exactly. And the advice you gave me was actually to work like to for now like work, get like do a job like sort of thing. And I hope that the job that I do, like I'm applying, I hope that it's something I love, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is actually what I want to do for the
Mm.
rest of my life. That is honestly the hope and the goal and the prayer sort of thing. She said that if you do decide that in X amount of years you want to start something, then at least you have the experience. You've done something, and you have some weight behind your name to say this is why you should back me. It's not just like you saying people trust me, bro. I can do this sort of thing. You sort of saying,
Trust
look,
me,
sort of, and
bro.
and I think that's a huge trust me, bro. And I think that's a huge thing with like, look, when you're applying for jobs, like you, you have the CV and I got ChatGPT to help me make my CV and improve it sort of thing. And you realize how like how how you're discounting yourself and the things that you have done through your work sort of thing. And so they ask you in an interview, have you done X? And you say no. But the answer should actually be no. I've done this though, and that's how I can translate into that sort of thing. And these
Mm.
are skills that I'm learning through the process of interviewing, through the processes of doing work sort of thing. And these are things that I hope will take me far further in life. When you get to business, you know that, oh, okay, well, I can translate what I've done into any situation, and I can be the guy for this
Wow,
job sort of
hey
thing.
man, that's incredible. And I the main message, and I personally, if I have to say it, I feel like you've learned your lesson. We're discussing a few things before, but I think that is the you've learned it. Translation. Translation. Right? And I'm then gonna close off by just saying there was this Kevin Hart sort of statement that he said, and he said, you know, being an entrepreneur and creating, building sort of this legacy, I'm gonna call it,
Yeah.
is like, being in line. They make a big announcement. They say, "Hey guys, let's go. If you hit a home run, you get 1 million. Let's say if you hit a home run, you get this one chance to make this legacy, right? So there's one legacy. Everyone get in line. If you just hit the ball over the fence, you have a legacy. There's 1 million people in line, right? One hits, doesn't make it, they go home. One hits, they don't make it, they go home. What started with 1 million can easily continue to be 1 million. But what do people do? People try once and they go home, right? But what does that then mean for you? That then means that slowly, if you just keep going back to the back of the line, right? You get more chance and more chance and more chance of striking this ball over the fence to get to legacy, right? Because two things are happening. There's less people in line, and secondly, you are practicing more, right? So you just got to keep going to the back of
Yeah.
the line, the back of the line, the back of the line. And at first, getting to the back of the line is going to be a long walk, right? And it's going to take you
Yeah.
a long time. But as you keep going, it gets shorter, you get better, you get better, and until it's just you. And maybe it's just you, they're pitching, hit, hit, hit. But as long as when it's just you and you're hitting, you will strike that ball out the fence, right? And the moral of the story is people stop because they think it's a one-on-one shot. You just go to the back of the line, and your chances automatically
Okay.
get better. So,
I
amen.
love that, KG. I think that's the perfect place to end. I'm not gonna add anything to that, KG. So I'm gonna say Top of the morning,
Oh, and
KG.
the rest of the day to you, good sir.